Building off one of the most iconic sitcoms of all time was never going to be easy, but That 90's Show tried it anyway, and we couldn't be more surprised by how it turned out. That 90's Show just released its first season on Netflix, continuing the saga of the beloved That 70's Show. So is it worth the watch? Can it actually top the legendary That 70's Show? Let's break down our five biggest takeaways from Season 1, starting with number 1, the return of our favorite cast members. That 90's Show features our favorite cast members from the original series in addition to a whole new cast of friends. We get to see the return of almost all of the original actors, including Topher Grace as Eric, Laura Prepon as Donna, Deborah Jo Rupp as Kitty, and Kurtwood Smith as Red. The first scene of the show immediately takes us back to the Foreman's home where we see Kitty and Red welcome Eric and Donna visiting with their daughter for 4th of July weekend.
Look, all I know is that I'm going to love her and stand behind her no matter what.
That is a great idea. Because when you stand behind your kids, it's easier to
put your foot in their ass. Yeah, we got it.
Along the way, there are plenty of other cameos as well. We see Ashton Kutcher return as Michael Kelso and Mila Kunis return as Jackie, as they stop by the Foreman house and talk about preparing for their third marriage. Throughout the season, we find other fan favorites, like Wilmer Valderrama as Fez, and even Leo as Silly to hold a conversation with as ever. Despite the presence of many cast members that we love, the show focuses mostly on Eric and Donna's daughter Leia, played by Kelly Haverda, and a new group of friends that hang out in a familiar basement during their summer vacation. Let's turn to takeaway number 2, That Nostalgia Show. That 70's Show premiered 25 years ago and lasted for a solid 8 seasons, taking us on an entertaining journey through the 1970s, until the final season ended in 2006. 17 years later, That 90's Show is here to awaken our nostalgia and remind us what we loved about the now classic sitcom. The new show follows Leia as she decides to stay with her grandparents, Red and Kitty, and tries to fit in with a new group of friends as they spend summer vacation in the basement and go through a series of teenage adventures. Altogether, the new show does a good job by bringing back the characters we adored and emulating everything we enjoyed about the 70's show. The show is so focused on the nostalgia factor that it even uses similar camera angles and uses the same close-up shots during smoke sessions. It even uses similar, colorful transitions between scenes, just with the new characters. However, the amount of nostalgia has its pros and cons, bringing us to takeaway number 3. The show is a little too nostalgic. Although the new show hits us in the feelings with its timely references and seemingly never-ending cameos, it feels more like a carbon copy than a spin-off. With similar story arcs, character tropes, and jokes, the show follows the exact same patterns as the original. Each of the young friends even seems to take the place of someone in the original group. Jake Kelso fits the role of the womanizer, taking the place of his dad in the show, Michael Kelso. Gwen stands in as the rebellious Hyde type. Ozzy mixes in the occasional one-liners just as Fez did. And Nate and Nikki serve as the token couple. Kitty and Red also serve similar roles as they did in the original show, acting as the respective concerned, people-pleasing mother and the strict, grumpy father figure. Just this time, they are grandparents instead. That being said, That 70's Show may be better suited for the next generation than the same one who enjoyed the adventures of Eric and the gang. Let us know in the comments if you felt the new series was too close to the original. The show may be a passing of the torch of sorts. Still, no matter who you are, you can probably agree with takeaway number 4. The series is entertaining. That 90's Show may not be the most groundbreaking and original new series on Netflix, but it is fun to watch.
Houston, permission to have fun. Over. Houston, do you read me? Over.
Permission granted.
The new characters are all funny and likable, even if their personalities are a little too familiar. Bringing back Red and Kitty as the centerpieces of the show alone helps to provide plenty of entertainment with their contrast between overly stern and overly accommodating. Plus, Red telling everyone to get out is always a chuckle. The show itself is overall still funny, with plenty of jokes and one-liners sprinkled throughout. You'll have a couple of laughs throughout each episode, even if you aren't a fan of all the corny jokes that get laid out. If you are looking for something to watch just to pass the time, then this is the perfect show for that. Ultimately, That 90's Show isn't better than the original That 70's Show, but it is a good watch, and we think that's the biggest takeaway. Still, it is possible that if the show is given some more time, it will develop its own voice and character personalities to propel it forward. But who's to say if it will get the chance to pick up that momentum? Speaking of, here's our 5th and final takeaway. We don't know if we'll see more. Whether or not we will see a second season of That 90's Show is still very much up in the air. After all, That 80's Show was dropped as quickly as it began, lasting only 1 season. And the lack of originality in That 90's Show isn't exactly a point in favor of it getting renewed. However, That 90's Show has the opportunity to thrive on its nostalgia. That 80's show was not nearly as connected to the original show as the new series is. Although not too fresh, the classic theme is enjoyable and worked so well the first time. After all, we can't help but laugh at Red calling someone a dumbass, whether it was in the 70s or the 90s. We think a large number of audiences will enjoy giving the new series a chance, but only time will tell how much it resonates with viewers. It doesn't help that Netflix has been very quick to drop shows that underperform. In just the last month, the streaming service axed 1899, Warrior Nun, and Inside Job, among many others. With such a short leash, few Netflix shows appear to be safe for the long run. So, in order for that 90's show to stick around, it will need a steady amount of committed viewers. For now, only time will tell whether or not there are more seasons to come. So with our takeaways out of the way, what did you think of that 90's show? Do you think the show deserves another season? And how did it compare to that 70's show? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Make sure to share this video with your friends to get their thoughts as well. As always, don't forget to subscribe so we can continue to bring you the latest buzz and in-depth analysis behind your favorite TV shows and movies. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.